welcome to another video, and today we're going to talk about when is a good time to start collecting. So when I say collecting, I mean for you to start a library of games for yourself that you plan on playing in the future. Collecting kind of gets mixed up with playing sometimes, games you plan on playing. I mean, we don't just collect games, just throw them on the shelf. At least most of us don't. But when you collect a game, you pretty much plan on playing that game at a later date. And the next thing you know, you might acquire a library of games and what we would call a collection. That's totally fine. So I just want to say this, that, always the best time, if you want to just get into this collecting thing with us, like I said, collect to play games, of course. A good time is always to start at the end of a console's life cycle. The reason I say this because retailers such as EB Games, GameStop, what else is out there? I can't think of it, the other ones. There was Game Crazy at one point, but we know they went out of business. And other stores that I might not know about, sometimes they're trying to get rid of these games, and because they need to move into new games like PS4 games, or the generation we're in now, and then next generation will be PS5 and so on and everything like that. So they're trying to clear all that stuff out, and they need room for it, so they start discounting the games at better prices. And GameStop usually has like a buy two get one free type sale, or 20% off this or this and that. So it's really a great time to start collecting for that system. As you know, the PlayStation 3, we're pretty much at the end of it. That life cycle ended, I think, about 2-3 years ago, I believe. And it was an easy time to start picking out games. I mean, I was finding stuff I didn't even know about on that system. It was pretty amazing. And a lot of stuff was really cheap. So you were able to acquire quite a few games for like damn near under $30. I mean, I could get like damn near 8 games for under $30 if I knew how to spend my money right, of course. And pawn shops are a good place to collect stuff too, for the last generation. It's harder nowadays. It's harder to find stuff at pawn shops like PS2, PS1 type stuff, but you'll definitely see PS3, Xbox 360, Wii, and of course PS4 and Xbox One. But we're still in that generation cycle. But those are a lot of places where it's good to start collecting games. I started collecting games back when I was 15, and I pretty much kept everything I've owned over the years. Some of the stuff I've actually sold and rebought a couple of times over the years, but when I did that, it was always a time when nobody was looking at it. You know what I mean? Like, no one cared about it. When GameStop was giving up PS2 games, I got a lot of my PS2 games there. I got Gradius 5 for $12 when they had that $12.99 on it. No one was buying it. I bought it. Now look what it's worth now. You know what I mean? You just got to really just kind of apply yourself to really look at things that people aren't looking at when it comes to video games, and look at it as if it's something of interest to you that you would want to have in your collection. Here's the funny thing about when you're collecting a generation that no one cares about anymore. When you start paying these cheap prices for these games, it could become addicting pretty much. Golly, when I was finding games for like cheap, like dirt cheap, it was amazing. And I was buying so much stuff at the time because it was so cheap that, I just started collecting all this stuff, and it was crazy. Next thing you know, I have this big all these games, and it was amazing. And I got addicted to collecting stuff because it was so cheap. I had some time to actually go through all those games pretty much and decide what I wanted to keep or not. But nowadays it's kind of harder to do that because it's harder to go out and find games on the cheap. At least other places besides GameStop that are the last generation pretty much. But I do want to say this: when a company such as GameStop, it's a big retailer for games, when they sell out of when they get rid of a collection, when they get rid of like a PS3 and Xbox 360 and Wii U stuff, that's when it's going to be, I think it's going to be really sought after, because nobody's going to be able to go in a store and find it easily in a regular retail store unless you're going to a mom and pop store or a regular game store that and those stores aren't going to charge. They're going to charge a little bit, quite a bit more than what they were going for at GameStop, because GameStop was actually trying to get rid of the stuff. So you have to look at it like that. You have to always just watch that stuff, because once it's over, and it's going to be hard to find those games in retail stores for good prices that you would want to pay. Now, I'm just assuming that you guys are like myself. I don't like spending too much money on games. I mean, when I get buyer's remorse after spending over $100 for a game, so I don't really do that much. But still, just something to think about. Another thing too, guys, when you're collecting games, and I've seen this with some alleged video game collectors, uh, they collect games, and these are like rare and expensive games, just to kind of just show them off to people. You know what I mean? I had one guy, and he was in a group, and he likes showing off a lot of stuff. And I say, yeah, how do you like that game, man? That's pretty cool. Or an older game that he put on. He's like, I don't know, man. I just picked it up for whatever. I'm like, you don't play your games? He said, no, not really. I was like, wow, dude, what the hell? I see a lot of people just collecting games just to impress other people. I'm like, man, like, come on, are you serious? I've never seen anybody do that before. I mean, that may be a rare case, but it kind of shocked me when I saw it. I was like, man, I couldn't imagine going to the store, picking up some games, and never playing them. Now, I've talked about it in my other videos where I've gotten the games I hadn't played yet that I wanted to play. I did get to them, but some of them I played I didn't really like, so I got rid of them. You know what I mean? I never have any game here just for show. I mean, I didn't think at least out of 80% of my games that I have here, I could tell you about them. And I have a lot of games. Yes, I do. I think I almost have like 2,000 games. That's when we did the Metal Jesus video before the Game Room Tour. I had 2,000 in, so I don't know what it is now, but I did downsize a little bit after that. But still, you know what I mean? I have a lot of games, and I pretty much have good knowledge of all of them. That's the curse about having a big game collection. When will you have time to play all this stuff? You know what I mean? It gets tough, but, I somehow make it happen. You know what I mean? But like I said, I would say I'm kind of like actually falling out of the cycle a little bit. And when I say cycle, like the newer generation, when it comes out, which is going to be the 9th generation, I think, I'm probably going to be like a little bit more chill, you know what I mean? Because the PS4 was really, the 8th generation consoles were pretty big for me. So as you guys have seen my PS4 collection, I got a lot of games for that system, amazing system. It really reminded me of the PS1 days. So it's been good. I don't know what's going to happen in the future with it, but, still, I'm just very happy with the current generation right now. So here's another thing, guys. So as I said, when about collecting at the end of a generation's end of a console's life cycle, the Wii U. I think around it was 2 years ago where Nintendo said they were going to discontinue the Wii being produced. Pretty much, okay, that happened. So that was a good time for people to actually finally get that system if they hadn't got it. Now, for the collectors type out there that really want everything like all crazy, like the system in box, that was the time that you were supposed to go get that box, Nintendo Wii complete in box before it got crazy in prices. And what's ended up happening now is those systems are going for I think I saw one for like I was talking to my buddy Marcus. He's the one that actually brought it up to me. He said they were going for like $700-800 for a complete Wii U in box. Now I don't know if that's the white or the black edition, but still, who the hell would want to pay that for a Wii U? I mean, I don't care if it's in box or not, but that's the collector's thing. And a lot of guys are dying out of the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, hell, even the N64. Everybody's pretty much having what they want nowadays. So now they're focusing on other things. I mean, the GameCube has been pretty. They've been collecting for that for crazy. I think that's died down. So now the next thing. It's probably the Wii, of course, so that's been done, and then the Wii U. Wii U is the next big target, and now that's why that system has kind of gone up in price, collectors wise. If you want to get it in a box, now the games are still a fair price. If you go to GameStop, that's the best place to get them on the cheap. But pretty much what makes these things so collectible is the people that have a crazy desire for them at the time. Everybody gets the same desire at the same time, then it gets sought after. Then next thing you know, the prices are being raised and people still want it right now because, and that's how it used to go. That's how stuff becomes expensive and collectible. So the next target right now, as you guys can see, is the Wii U. Do I think it's worth collecting for? Sure, why not? I mean, I would have a Wii U if I could get one. I mean, I had chances to get one. I just passed it up because I didn't think it was a system I would play, so I didn't want to add it to my collection, just have another system collecting dust. I just didn't want that for the system. I mean, it wouldn't be doing me justice, and damn near wouldn't be doing my game room any justice having it take up space. So that's why I passed up on the Wii U. The Switch, though, was a system I didn't think I was going to get at all. I just did not want to get it. And thankfully, luckily, to some people who were on my live chat about a year ago were shocked that I didn't care about getting a Switch. And they started donating money for me to get one. And I remember I got one the same night because they donated money to get one. And I was like, I was joking about the donations. They were serious. And I went up and picked that system up. And I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with it, man. I wasn't impressed when I first got it, but as time went on and I started looking at more games for it, I started to like it more. I actually have 20 games for the system now, and I'm pretty impressed with it. it's just, yeah, it's a cool system, but I didn't. I look at it more as a portable system instead of a console system. If that makes any sense. Yeah, solid system. Anyways, guys, in closing out, I just want to say if you're looking for the best system to start a collection for, always I would say the best generation to start with that's cheaper is either the previous generation or slightly the current generation. I would say more of the previous, of course, for the reason I stated above about GameStop trying to get rid of certain stuff. And like I said, when the company's trying to get rid of stuff, it seems like no one's ever looking at the stuff. That's the best time to start acquire a collection for yourself. You know what I mean? Always, like I said, just at the end of a generation cycle, I think that's the strongest point to start up, build a collection for it. Now, you can always buy current games for the current consoles and collect like that. But the thing about that's more expensive, of course. If you're like if you're on the cheap and you want to do it the cheap route, go at the stuff that no one's looking at and make sure there's something in there you think you would like to have in your collection. As simple as that. I've done it so many times where I actually got rid of my PSP collection twice. And the last time when GameStop was finally giving it away, like they didn't want it anymore, they were trying to clear it out. That's when I collected for it like crazy because I wanted more games for it. And I think I got most of my collection at the time, and I have like I then have like 100 games, maybe a little over more. I'd say I paid over, I'd say like less than $300. I mean, it was so cheap. That's how great it was. So. Definitely look at it like that, guys. Anyways, guys, I've been talking too much. So hopefully you guys could use these tips for yourself. You know, never feel like you have to collect just to impress somebody. Always get what you want. It doesn't matter if it's 1 or 2 games that you have in your collection because those are games that you like playing. But anyways, guys, I'm getting tired of talking. I got to get out of here. Radical Reggie, and I will see you later.